The night the HOA stormed my cabin. The first fist slammed against my cabin door so hard the deer antlers above the fireplace rattled. Before the echo faded, the door burst open, kicked wide by a man in a black jacket. 3 others stormed in behind him, red and blue lights flashing from a bar on a white SUV parked outside. They shouted over each other, "HOA enforcement! Hands up!" One shoved a plastic badge in my face. Another raised a rifle, too polished, like it had never seen a real fight. Their boots trampled the hand-woven rug my late wife had made, filling my quiet cabin with chaos. I raised my hand slowly. "Easy now," I said, my voice steady as a still lake at dusk. At 52, I'd seen enough storms to know panic only fuels the fire. My calm didn't match their frenzy, but it held. "This is private property," I told them. "Not tonight." The leader snapped, his wraparound sunglasses absurd in the dim morning light. "We're with Pinewood Estates HOA. You blocked the lake path. You ignored fines. You're under arrest for obstruction." His badge said Community Safety Unit, but the stitching was crooked, the nameplate peeling. Real cops don't wear sunglasses indoors. Real cops don't call an inspection an arrest. The lake path they mentioned was just a deer trail through blueberry bushes, well within my property line. The gate they hated was a simple wooden bar to keep coyotes from my chickens. But reason wasn't their game. One of them shoved past me, knocking a coffee mug off the counter. It shattered, brown liquid pooling like a wound on the floor. Another swung his rifle toward the hallway. "My granddaughter's in there," I said, my voice low but firm. "She's 12. Point that gun away, or we've got a problem." The leader, a wiry man with a scar on his upper lip, sneered. "You'll learn what happens when you cross the HOA." Outside, the SUV's lights pulsed red and blue across my log walls. In the driveway, I saw a familiar figure, Eleanor Price, HOA president, in a cream blazer and pearls, her smile cold as winter. She stood like she owned the world, and I was just a tenant. They zip-tied my wrists, the plastic biting into my skin. The leader leaned close, his breath sour. "Cabin folks think they're above the rules. You're not." He didn't notice my glance toward the corner, where an iron lever hid under a fishing net and a framed photo of my state police academy class. One pull would drop steel shutters and lock the inner hallway. I'd never used it. Never wanted to. But some tools are for days when words fail. I edged toward the lever, pretending to shrink from his rifle. He smirked, thinking he'd cowed me. My fingers brushed the net. He swung his gun toward my chest. I pulled. The world roared with metal shutters slammed down, the hallway locked with a thud. Darkness swallowed the room. My granddaughter, Lily, gasped from behind the door. The men shouted, boots scrambling, a rifle clattering to the floor. Chaos took over like a river breaking its banks. This all began 3 months earlier with a letter from Pinewood Estates HOA, stuffed crooked in my mailbox. I'd bought this cabin on Clearwater Lake for peace after retiring as a state police commander. The lake was a mirror at dusk, loons calling like soft music. I learned the cabin's quirks, squeaky floorboards, sticky windows, and lived quietly. I waved at neighbors, shared chili with old Mr. Thompson down the road, and fixed bikes for kids passing by. Then the letter came, reeking of cheap perfume. It listed violations. My chicken fence wasn't the right shade, my canoe was stored equipment, and Lily's garden gnome broke their decorative standards. They demanded $250 and 7 days to comply. I went to their office, a cheery building with a duck mural. I filed an appeal, offered to paint the fence, move the canoe, even hide the gnome. The board, led by Eleanor, denied it in a curt note. Uniformity protects value. I complied anyway, painted the fence, stowed the canoe, tucked the gnome out of sight. Lily rolled her eyes but hugged me tight. "You're such a softie, Grandpa Jack," she said. I thought peace could be bought with a paintbrush. But more letters came. They claimed my new gate blocked a community path that didn't exist. They fined me for fire pit smoke after 7 p.m. I kept logs, switched to cedar, tried to play nice. At the next HOA meeting, I brought cookies and spoke calmly. "There's no path on my deed. Let's talk this out." Eleanor smiled like a snake. "Uniformity protects value," she repeated. A guy named Greg, with a mustache and a smug grin, looked at me like I was a puzzle he'd already solved. Then I saw Thema white SUV with a cheap Community Safety Unit sticker cruising past my mailbox. Two men in fake uniforms measured my driveway, glancing around like they were casing the place. I walked out, hands open. "Morning. Can I help you?" The one with new boots stammered. "We're HOA police." I smiled. "There's no such thing. Show me a contract." They drove off, muttering they'd be back. They were. The next morning, they stormed my cabin, leading to this moment darkness, shouting, and Lily's faint voice behind the locked door. The leader yelled, "Get those shutters up." Another muttered, "He's got a panic system." I called to Lily, "Stay put. Remember the drill. We had two. Fire and bad weather. Stay low, stay calm. Wait for my code phrase. Blueberry pie tastes best warm." The leader pressed his rifle against my collarbone. "Open it, or I break what you love." I kept my voice even. "You've already started. You can still stop." He laughed, but it was hollow. Eleanor's voice cut through from the porch. "Do it now." The leader signaled a man to slap a hydraulic tool against a shutter. It whined, but the steel held. Then I heard Ida cough outside. Old Mr. Thompson, my neighbor, must have walked up, drawn by the lights. "Stop," I shouted. "There's an old man out there." The leader ignored me, yanking open the mudroom door. Cold air rushed in. Mr. Thompson stood there, cane in hand, his flannel coat flapping. "What's this?" he quavered. The leader grabbed him, shoving him onto a bench. "Sit." Mr. Thompson's eyes were wide, his hands shaking. A single knock hit the front door hard, deliberate. Every head turned. The leader hissed, "Who's that?" A man peered through a shutter slit. "Black truck. No lights." The knock came again, patient, like it knew it would be answered. The door opened, and a tall figure stepped in, his face shadowed. He scanned the room, the broken mug, the trembling old man, me on my knees. "Morning," he said, voice low. "Let's take a breath." "Who are you?" the leader demanded. The man's eyes met mine, steady as a lighthouse. "Your next mistake if you don't choose right." The leader raised his rifle. Then the smoke alarm screamed, wired to a sensor I'd never shown anyone. Chaos exploded, shouts, Lily's cry, the hydraulic tool shrieking. I twisted my wrists, feeling the zip tie give. The leader swung toward me, but the tall man stepped forward. "Weapons down," he said, flipping open a wallet. A gold shield glinted. "I'm Commander Tom Hayes, State Police. You just made the biggest mistake of your life." The fake cops froze, rifles trembling. Eleanor's pearls flashed outside as she peered in. The leader spat. "This is HOA territory." Hayes didn't blink. "No, son. You break the law here." The leader lunged, rifle first. I grabbed the barrel, twisting it free. It clattered against the wall. Real state police poured in, shouting, "Drop your weapons." The fake cops scattered, some dropping rifles, others cowering. But Eleanor's voice sliced through from the porch. "Don't listen to him. He's lying." She raised a remote and pressed it. The ground shook, engines roared outside heavy, industrial, wrong for this quiet lake. The leader smirked. "You think you've won? You don't know what's coming." The cabin trembled as if the earth might split. Lily screamed behind the door. "Mr. Thompson clutched the bench. Eleanor shouted, "This is HOA land, and we own every inch." Hayes moved forward, unshaken. "Turn it off, Eleanor." "Now." She laughed. "You think I'd let a washed-up cop like you or a stubborn squatter like him ruin me?" Floodlights swept the snow outside, and heavy trucks rumbled closer. I called to Lily, "Stay down. Blueberry pie tastes best warm." Her faint voice answered, "I know, Grandpa." My heart ached. She was so brave. A blast shook the lake, dust raining from the rafters. The leader grinned. "You'll find out soon enough." Hayes spoke into his radio, "Hold the ridge. Don't let them through." Static answered, then silence. Eleanor's voice rose again. "You thought you could defy me, John? You thought your appeals and chilly dinners would make me look weak." I faced her. "This isn't authority, Eleanor. It's bullying. Real authority protects, not destroys." She sneered, pressing another button. A screeching noise erupted outside, disorienting, designed to break us. Lily cried out. "Mr. Thompson winced. Even Hayes' men flinched, but he stood firm. "Turn it off." Then the leader hesitated, doubt flickering in his scarred face. "This wasn't the deal," he muttered. Eleanor snapped, "Follow orders." I leaned close. "She'll throw you away the second you're not useful." His jaw twitched. Another boom shook the cabin, closer now. Floodlights swept the trees. Hayes' radio crackled. We're surrounded. He looked at me. Get the girl ready. Cellar exit, now. I opened the cellar hatch, whispering to Lily, blueberry pie tastes best warm. She crawled out, clutching her book, tears streaking her face. I hugged her. Stay small, stay quiet. We descended into the cold earth, Hayes' young officer, Mike, leading the way. Mr. Thompson shuffled behind, his cane left in the snow. We moved through a drainage tunnel, emerging near the old boathouse. Floodlights cut through the forest as we ran, weaving between pines, the roar of trucks behind us. Hayes' voice crackled in my earpiece. Hold at the old mill. We'll draw them off. We reached the mill, crouching in shadows. Then a whistle, 3 sharp notes froze my blood. The intruders had herded us here. Headlights flooded the clearing, trucks boxing us in. A tall, broad man stepped forward, his face hard, his smile cruel. Hand over the girl, or no one lives. Mike stepped up. You're not taking her. The man laughed. Then another figure emerged, a state police jacket, but the face was wrong, too calm. You did well, John, he said. But no cabin's innocent here. A flare lit the sky, and a gunshot cracked. The tall man laughed as his men closed in. I clutched Lily, her heart pounding against mine. The traitor in the police jacket aimed at my chest. You thought you could outsmart us? Mike fired back. That badge makes you a liar, not law. I whispered to Lily, not tonight, baby. Not while I'm breathing. Hayes appeared at the clearing's edge, battered but alive, his men behind him. You're done, he told the tall man. Armed assault, kidnapping, impersonation. You're not walking free. The tall man laughed, gesturing to his trucks. We have numbers. Hayes raised 2 fingers. The forest erupted, state police units surged in, rifles blazing, shouting, drop your weapons. Bullets flew, trucks crashed. I ran with Lily and Mr. Thompson, Mike covering us. An intruder lunged, knocking Lily from my arms. His knife gleamed. I grabbed his wrist, struggling, until Lily, trembling, fired Mike's sidearm. The man collapsed. I took the gun, holding her tight. You were so brave. We reached a ranger shack, barricading inside. Smoke seeped through as the intruders set fire outside, jeering, burn them out. Hayes' voice crackled. Reinforcements are 30 seconds out. The door shook under blows. Then headlights and sirens flooded the clearing. Hayes burst in, pulling us out as flames roared. The tall leader appeared, shotgun raised. HOA rules forever, he roared, aiming at Lily. Hayes fired, wounding him, but he didn't fall. Then the scarred fake cop, who'd once bound my wrists, fired a single shot. The leader dropped, blood pooling in the snow. No more, he said, shaking. The tide turned. Intruders fled, police secured the clearing. But Eleanor was still out there, fleeing in an SUV. We chased her to Pinewood Gorge Bridge. She stood in the middle, remote raised, screaming, I'll bring this bridge down. Nothing happened, her device was disabled. She pulled a pistol, aiming at me. I fired first. Her pearls scattered as she fell, the remote tumbling into the river. Silence settled, broken only by the wind. But the SUV's back door was open. Footprints led into the dark. The scarred man whispered, That's their cleaner, Vance. Ex-military. He makes problems disappear. A rifle shot sparked off the bridge. Vance's voice echoed, You won't leave heroes. You'll leave dust. He was pushing us to the bridge's center, where a detonator case I'd found in the SUV could still blow us all. I knew his pattern: 3 shots, then a shift. Let me go, the scarred man said. I helped start this. I shook my head. We ended together. We bolted from cover, firing as Vance shifted. My bullet hit his chest, his remote shattering as he fell down the ridge. It was done. Lily ran to me, sobbing. I held her, tears burning my eyes. Mr. Thompson smiled wearily from a stretcher. Mike, alive in his vest, gave a thumbs up. Hayes clapped my shoulder. You held the line, John. The cabin stood, scarred but mine. Kindness had turned an enemy into an ally, saved my family, and broken a tyrant's grip. The fight was over. Trials would come, but that night, on that frozen bridge, we'd won. I looked at Lily, safe in my arms, and knew peace wasn't just a quiet lake, it was the strength to protect what matters. What do you think about the violence and injustice in this story? Have you ever faced a situation where power was abused, or kindness prevailed against all odds? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's hear your perspective. Stand up and speak out.